I've got a tournament coming up this Saturday, and today I'm going to be adding 3 discs to my bag that I think I need for this course. Right now I have the Grace, the Wraith, and then the Archon. All 3 of these I've thrown previously as part of a staple in my bag, but I've kind of gone away from them, and I think it's time for them to make a comeback. So we're going to see how these guys fly today. First shot here, it's a little over 400 feet. We're just looking for a little stand-up, push down this right side. You can kind of see the lighter colored bushes. The idea would be to start fading just out in front of that, get us like a C2 look. I'd be super happy, but I don't really know what the discs are gonna do, so I'm just looking for the little hyzer, pop up to flat, push. We'll go from there. We're gonna go Grace first. I mean, that's kind of it. That was beautiful. Little flip up, little guide to the right, and then center push. Got a little more turn on it. We got it low and into that bush though, so we'll get another shot with that later. The next up is a classic 11 speed, the Wraith. I actually love this die that my partner and I did on this. That didn't have near the flip. So I love that the control the Grace gave me there. Nice little flip up straight shot, kind of what I was looking for. Wraith might have a little too much stability. I mean, you gotta take those runs somehow, right? The Grace, we need a little hyzer flip, push straight up the left-hand side. It's a little dog leg left. Now just float, penetrate left, or get knocked down completely by a tree. Archon is up next, same idea, maybe a little more hyzer. Oh, we're getting the right turn. Not good. I need to get this next one a little bit lower. Wraith is gonna come out pretty much flat. Wraith penetrated the farthest in there. Let's see what we got for some results. Good tree. A couple things I want to talk about during this video. One is that I find 11 speeds to overall be just way more controllable. And I think that for most of us AM arms that really aren't pushing those 500 numbers, we're going to find them to work out a lot better for us. The other thing I want to talk about is putting. Probably isn't as easy to tell from the camera angle, but for me, it feels like a wicked ceiling, especially being 6'1". So I know I'm way below the basket, but we're still dropping to a knee, so I can feel like I can kind of do a normal putt. Hey, sometimes you just need player 2 to take it. I should be parked. Ooh, die. Yeah, too stable. Might have failed to mention that there's water behind and it's a drop off to it, but nonetheless, the Archon's right here for the birdie up. And then because they have a tournament on Saturday, we gotta make sure we're taking 2 putts at all these baskets. I don't know what I'm thinking. Not getting the extra putts in. All right, you guys should be able to see the basket right down the main gap here. I'm just off to the side of it. It's not really a direct line of sight for me, but I know if I just hit this guy through that gap on a forehand, it'll get to the right for us. Start off with the Wraith. Little tree. All right, that branch got us a little short, but we're up there for a putt. Next up is the Archon, little flippy, so we got to hyzer flip it up there a little bit. Oh, hit a tree. All right, that was pushing way straight, super flip up. Last but not least, we're gonna do the Grace, same idea, a little flip up. Just didn't hit the gap. Like I was saying here, Wraith just short, but we're in C1 looking like 20 feet. And if you know anything from my last video, I should make this for the free bird. So one of the things I find it's too easy to do, especially if you've been practicing a lot, taking your putting really seriously, is to come out here and completely break your form by like really getting into it. When at home, you're just kind of like standing here, just kind of minorly into it. That's not the same form. Make sure that whatever you're practicing at home, you're actually taking out to the course. And then it'll just be repeatable because you've been repeating it. At 291 feet, this is way too short of a distance for an 11 speed, but we're gonna try to make it work. We're just gonna try to pop it up flat through this gap. You can see the one tree on the right-hand side. If we can be just inside of that, kind of just beelining right at the basket, honestly, we should be good. That is way too in my head. We're going forehand. Change of plans. We're gonna hit that left gap. Hyzer back at the basket. Lucky with the tree play, but we're parked. And with the Archon, little flip up. Maybe try the right gap this time, but just flip up straight shot with the Archon. It flipped up, but I needed it much lower. way out to the right hand side. So one of the hardest things for me is down tempoing these faster discs, because for me, especially the flippier ones, the Wraith not so bad. You put it out flat, you know, it's just gonna fade. Down tempo, it fades earlier. But with the guys that got a little flip and stand up, it's hard to tell how much they're gonna flip up and ride before they fade again when you're down tempoing what you usually hit them on. Maybe I just need more practice, more field work with them, but it's a weakness in my game. Anyways, confident putt, bring the one from home, don't get too into it. This one here, another little shorty, 255, out behind that mound. There's a left and right gap. I can take that right gap on more of a turnover line, but with the disc we're using, we're gonna be going for the left-hand gap with the forehand. Just need to make sure that I hit the gap, but don't really need to give it any turn. Just make sure it gets up and finishes. Not the shot we needed. Be long of the basket, but get us a putt. I like the way that flipped up the whole way. That was beautiful. I definitely need that in my bag. Pushing hyzer, not a big dive. That'll get me out of some spots. We're effectively playing best shot triples, so expect a lot of birdies here. But let's get back to putting. So something I feel like a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot of spin. Like, I can almost put this out ahead on this backside and whip it around. Like, it doesn't quite work. It's exaggerating too much, but you just need to pivot around on the line. So like, so much power from that just pivoting, and a lot of that really stems to this, just being able to toss it up and down in your hand like this, using your thumbs and fingers. Because once you're able to just kind of do this and impart spin without really touching the rim at all, you get so much power when you're putting. So we're looking at 354 feet. The Wraith is not gonna have a shot on this one. It just doesn't play for it. It's too stable. I need something that's gonna flip up, push straight, and then slight finish left. Wraith's gonna hook. Archon, on the other hand, feels pretty perfect for this. Little flip up, push straight, 350. That might be just long of the basket, I think, but we'll take that. Not bad for uphill. That one I got over on. That Archon, though, that was a nice shot. We'll take this right here. Here's my tip for putting this close. Really don't even think about them. Just put them in the basket. It's so easy, you don't have to look at what you're doing while you're putting, because they'll just go in anyways. Really liking the Wraith for the hyzer, so we're gonna do a hyzer out and around the tree. It's about 333, just give it some height. Need that to hook. Kind of hard to talk about putting when all you have are these super easy putts, but even these you have to pay attention to, because if you just give it nose up, well, that one caught. But a lot of times your nose up high putts, they'll come back at you. That might be a putt. Ah, the Grace just disappeared, so we're gonna try to find that after we make this putt. Whew. Yeah! Well, it's gonna be hard to compare the Archon and the Grace for the rest of the video when the Grace is just gone, so we're probably gonna end it here. After a 45-minute look, we have found the Grace. We're looking at, I gotta say, it's gotta be between 325, 375 down into the gully, OB long. So we need to put this a punch down there, but then sit. At this point, I'm kind of thinking I know what the discs are doing. The Grace, the Archon, and the Wraith. The Archon and the Grace are pretty similar. The Grace flipping over, the Archon getting that turn as well. But the Wraith is actually really holding its own, really doesn't get the same hyzer flip and turn as the other two. That'd be more of our headwind guy as far as these three and what situation we'd be using them in to get those similar flights. Right now, we're just gonna bomb the Grace out there, finish up. Not too mad about that. I was heading towards the basket. Kind of liked that line, liked that push. I was thinking it might work its way back through. We kind of got to the right side a little too quick. The Wraith should fade a little earlier. A little bit left side on this one, but that's gonna get us a giant skip to the left. Not too useful. And this is just for me. I gotta throw this Zeus. I liked that. So my tournament's coming up on Saturday. By the time you guys see this, it will have already happened. But I really wanted to make sure I've got one of these 11 speeds. I really need that type of flight, that not the Wraith, but the flip up and turn and get a little coast and land. I really needed one of those in my bag. And I'm thinking right now the Grace and the Archon might both end up going in, filling slightly different slots. There's OB like 8 feet behind, by the way. You guys are in OB practically. That's OB. That's OB.